Well, hey, water can be a problem at the office, and we're not just talking about employees spending a little too much time at the water cooler. You know, as many offices around the Portland area have sat closed for the past year when workers moved to working from home, now that they're starting to reopen again, there could be some hidden dangers lurking in places you would never think to check.
Yeah, Portland Water Bureau Water Quality Information Manager Scott Bradway joins us live with what you need to know. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So what are some of the water issues that we could potentially see as people return to work?
Yeah, well, first, I'd just like to say that the water we deliver to buildings and homes throughout Portland and the region is safe to drink. We deliver safe water, but we look at this as a shared responsibility. We're responsible for bringing safe water to customers' meters, and then from there, it's up to our customers and building managers to maintain that water as it moves through their building. So in particular, what we're kind of talking about right now is over the past year, as buildings have either been shut down or we've seen reduced usage in them, particularly our larger kind of office and commercial buildings, that stagnant water can pose some potential health risks to customers, especially as they start to reopen them. And so that's what we're asking our building managers to keep an eye out for.
So what are some of the things that people should be looking for that could indicate a bigger problem?
Yeah, so really what we're talking about now are kind of two different things. We're talking about lead in drinking water, which I think we've heard a lot about recently over the few years. When water can sit in pipes for an extended period of time, if there is lead in those buildings' plumbings, because we're fortunate that the drinking water provided by the city is not kind of a high source for lead in water, but it's really the plumbing within these buildings. So when the water sits in contact with that lead for an extended period of time, you can get more lead in water. And then when you drink that water, you can be exposed to that lead. Additionally, the other thing we're talking about is Legionella. Legionella is a potentially harmful bacteria that can be present normally at really low levels that aren't really harmful. But when water kind of gets stagnant and it warms up inside buildings, then this Legionella can really kind of start to reproduce and grow into higher numbers. And then when it gets inhaled, it's not so much a drinking issue, but it's when it's inhaled through showers or mists or hot tubs, then people can get sick from that. So those are kind of the two issues that we're really looking at right now.
Okay, so what are some of the symptoms of some of those illnesses you mentioned that people really need to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, so when it comes to exposure to lead in drinking water, there's really not a lot of symptoms, but we're really just concerned about young children being exposed to that, and particularly at risk, developing children. So that's one thing to keep an eye out with them. When it comes to Legionella, that's a respiratory disease. Unfortunately, some of the symptoms can be very similar to what you see with COVID there. So you want to be looking out for a pneumonia type situation or conditions there.
So as we look to try and prevent any of these issues, what should employees be maybe asking their employer to do, or what can they do as they return to the office to try and avoid a bigger issue?
Yeah, so until buildings fully reopen, we're encouraging them to routinely flush their water on a weekly basis, run the water on all the taps. This gets that kind of stagnant water where the Legionella can proliferate out of the building. It also helps to bring in the disinfection residual that is found out in the pipes in the streets into the building that keeps the Legionella from reproducing. Also are asking people to check their hot water system, make sure the temperature is set to 140 degrees. Legionella really can proliferate when it's getting water between like 70 and 110 degrees. And so if your hot water heater is not hot enough, then at some of the kind of end use points, the shower heads or the faucets, that water doesn't get warm enough to kind of kill off the Legionella, and that's where it can kind of grow and then get inhaled. And then as buildings reopen, we are asking them to consider developing a water management plan. You can visit our website, portland.gov/water/WQ building. And there you'll find some steps that you can take to reopen your building safely, as well as links to the CDC guidance on reopening buildings and developing water management plans, as well as information from the Environmental Protection Agency as well.
All right, a topic I don't think a lot of people have probably thought about. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Portland Water Bureau Water Quality Information Manager Scott Bradway, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Yep. And of course, we'll put all that information with the links on coin.com.